Hey folks, how you all doing? Lloyd here, Mr. Hats as I'm known in the VC. Thanks to Mike from PC31 a couple of years ago. That's okay, name sticks, that's fine. Could be worse, I've been called worse. Anyway, I thought today I would do a rankings video. Simply because I've done a lot of threads lately, and you know they're good. They're good to do. They get your mind working. But I'd rather do something of mine this time as opposed to something of someone else's. So I thought I'd do an easy ranking to get the first cab off the rank, so to speak. Four albums. Four albums. Sorry, four albums. It's the 1978 Kiss solo albums. So one by Gene, Paul, Peter, and Ace. So yeah, when you look at Kiss, they were very prolific in those early years. So between 1974, when they released their first studio album, to the end of 1977, just prior to these four, they'd released 6 studio albums. They'd also released a double live album, Alive, and another double live album, which was 3 sides live, 1 side studio. That was Alive 2. And at the end of 77, beginning of 78 there, they released Double Platinum, a double LP compilation. So the way the band came to get the idea for these solo albums was by the middle of 1977, Peter and Ace were getting disillusioned with their position in the band, I guess. They both wanted to branch out and do solo albums. So there was a band meeting, management meeting, and the conclusion was they would all go away and record a solo album. The only stipulation was they couldn't use each other from the band on the solo albums. They all had to do it independently, find their own producers, find their own musicians, etc, etc. Anyway, so they all went out, and on the 18th of September 1978 the 4 studio albums were released simultaneously on the same day. The album covers all matched, so it looked like a complete set, or like there was a unification there. And yeah, all 4 albums are totally different from each other. So yeah, let's get into it from my favourite or least favourite to ultimate favourite. Now, as anyone who knows my channel knows, I don't follow trends. I do my own thing. I see things as I see it, hear it as I hear it. I don't try to do what everyone else does. I just call it as I see it, basically. And yeah, probably not going to agree with some of these anyway, like always. So anyway, at number 4 on my list, I actually have the Paul Stanley album. This is because his album sounds more like a Kiss album than anyone else's. And that's purely it. I'm just comparing to Kiss stuff because that's what it sounds like. So we'll quickly go through the tracks. There's 9 tracks on here. They're all originals, no covers. It is the only album of the 4 that does not contain any covers. This is picture disc, by the way. This is the Greek version, which was an original from back in the day, I believe. Could be an early reissue from the early 80s, but I think it might be an original. So the album opens up with Tonight You Belong to Me. That starts off all acoustic and mellow, and then you get the crunch of a stupendous riff, and it just shatters the silence. Absolutely great. Could have been an opening track on any Kiss album, in my opinion. Love it. Next we have Move On. Keeps up the same blistering sound of the opening track. You know, it's a perfect uppercut to the chin after the right hook of the opening track. Brilliant stuff. Bang bang, 2 out of 2. Love it. Third track, Ain't Quite Right. That has more in common with R&B and soul, in my opinion. Paul visited soul only a few years ago, 3 or 4 years ago, with his last solo album. So he's got that from his youth, I guess, from his upbringing, from his formative years, the soul. And you can hear it in this song, even though it is guitar driven. That's a nice song. I like it. Wouldn't You Like to Know Me? That's a pop rock song. Sort of not rock, but it's not pop. It's not too far removed from the tracks he was doing on the Unmasked album in 1980. If you know that album, it's more yeah, but it's just not as good as the tracks he did on the album, in my opinion. I don't like it. Take Me Away, Together as One. Um, that's pretty much a copy and paste effort of the opening track, with the slow bit and then the heavy rock sounds come in. I don't like it simply because it sounds too familiar and too similar to the opening track. It's all right. It's almost danceable. If you listen to it, it is a rock song, but it's got a dance beat to it, sort of as a I look at it as a precursor to I Was Made for Loving You and Sure Know Something, with their sort of danceable vibes, yet being still pop rock songs. Um, but yeah, I don't like that song neither. I don't think he'd honed that style before until I Was Made for Loving You and the Dynasty album. Hold Me, Touch Me, that is so saccharine, sappy, sugar sweet. It's a ballad. It is a ballad. It's a beautiful ballad, even though I said that about the song. Um, it would make Barry Manilow blush. To put it quite simply, I love it. I think it's a fabulous song. Loving Chains, solid riffs and licks on here. Great vocals too, but it just sounds a bit cliched and predictable. Then again, most Kiss stuff is cliched and predictable. There's something missing on it. I don't like it, that track. Goodbye closes the album off. Just sounds like a throwaway track, like something he'd banded around as a half-finished track. Needed something to finish the album and thought, oh well, we'll just polish the dog turd and put it on there at the end. No one will care. That's what it feels like to me. I don't like that track neither. So this album overall, this comes in at 5.5 out of 10. It gets the pass mark because of the 3 songs that I love, but it's really average in my opinion for what Paul Stanley's standards should have been. Next up, we'll go to this one. Usually comes 4th or 3rd on most people's lists, and it's Gene Simmons' solo album. 11 tracks on here, 1 cover and 1 re-recording of a song from Rock and Roll Over. Gene Simmons went for a star-studded cast on this album. He had Helen Reddy on there, Cher, Donna Summer, Bob Seger, Joe Perry from Aerosmith, and Rick Nielsen from Cheap Trick. It was an all-star cast. He went all guns blazing, basically. The opening track, Radioactive, starts with some real demonic sounds, some eerie strings that build up to an almost Omen-esque quality, and then it turns into a blistering, riff-drenched rocker. Absolutely brilliant. Perfect album opener. Would have been a great opening track on any Kiss album as well. Absolutely love it. Burning Up with Fever is the next track. I wouldn't say it's a throwaway, discarded track, but it was written for the Destroyer sessions. It never made it on the album, so it obviously wasn't good enough and didn't fit in with the album. When you listen to it, it doesn't really fit in with the sound of Destroyer anyway, so he tidied it up and released it on here. It's a good song, it's just not great. See You Tonight is the next track, semi-acoustic. It's very Beatlesque. It's got all the harmonies and melodies, well, the melodies you would expect from a semi-acoustic Beatle track. Absolutely love it. Very melodic for Simmons as well. Tunnel of Love. Gene has always loved to sing about his penis and where he would like to put his penis, and this is no different. It's very immature teenage hormonal drivel. I don't like it. True Confessions is the next track. This was another one that was written during the sessions for Destroyer. Has a slight R&B vibe. It's a bit too cheesy as well to be taken seriously, and I really don't like it. Living in Sin, next track. Very good pop rock tune. I wouldn't say novelty song, but it's light-hearted. It's light-hearted at times. Cher is does the speaking bit on that track as well. Absolutely love that song. Always Near You, Slash, Nowhere to Hide. Has a slight Beatle influences throughout, but nothing absolutely specific. But it's just got a slight, I guess, 1960s British invasion type thing, sort of a Hollies thing happening as well. It's just, without being anything in particular, it's pretty hard to put my finger on that track. But there's not enough on it to keep me interested in the song. I don't like it. Man of a Thousand Faces, not quite a ballad, not quite a pop song, or not quite a rocker neither. It's sort of stuck between a rock and a hard place, and I really don't like it because it's not one thing or the other. Mr. Make Believe is the next track. It's gorgeous. It's got dreamy, wispy sound and vocals. It's an acoustic song. It's very melodic and catchy. It's a top 10 career track as far as a Gene Simmons song goes for me. Absolutely brilliant. Love it. Absolutely incredible. See You in Your Dreams. It's a re-recording of a song from Rock and Roll Over. Gene wasn't happy with the original sound on the original version, so he's re-recorded it for this album. I'm not a big fan of the track on Rock and Roll Over anyway, and I don't think this does anything to improve the song, and it certainly doesn't do anything for me to go, yep, that's a really good song. So I dislike that one as well, sadly. And then the album closes off with a WTF moment. When You Wish Upon a Star. Gene was always a fan of Disney, and he did a cover of When You Wish Upon a Star to close the album. It's just, yeah, it's not great. It's really not good at all. Yeah, but this album is a lot. This isn't what you would expect from The Demon, basically. It's pop album, acoustic album. You know, you got disco queens on it like Donna Summer and Cher, etc. Plus Aussie singer Helen Reddy, and it's a very eclectic album. I just don't think it works as well as it should have and could have. This one does come in at 6 out of 10 for me. It's passable. And a few years ago, this would have been rock bottom, a long way behind every other album, so that's not too bad. Second on my list, I'm going for Peter Criss's album. This album gets criticised because it's got jazzy overtones. It's got an R&B soul vibe pretty much all the way through it, and Kiss fans dislike it because of that reason. But I see it as the opposite. I see it as an extension of songs like Beth, Hard Luck Woman. Mainline had a very R&B vibe to it, and his chorus bit on Nothing to Lose as well. All four of those songs I've just mentioned are what this album sounds like. Yes, it does have jazz leanings, but then Peter Criss was a jazz trained drummer initially, and he did use jazz fills on the Kiss tracks, which gave them their sort of unique style anyway. So I don't have a problem with that. So the album opens up with I'm Gonna Love You. It's a decent pop song. Poor choice for an album opener though. There's a couple of songs on here he could have had as a better choice for an album opener. So it sort of lets, not quite where it should be to get you into the album straight away, sadly. You Matter to Me is the next track. It's very disco-esque. It's pop rock, R&B. It's a solid song. It should have been a hit. It was released as a single, and at the time when disco was there, it should have been a hit. I'll get into why I don't think this album is revered much at the end. Tossin' and Turnin', this is a cover from Bobby Lewis 1961 R&B track. Great thumping riffs and pounding drums on here. Cool R&B vibes. I love it. Don't You Let Me Down. This is soulful. It's as smooth as R&B gets. These ballads are what Peter Criss is known for, basically. So yeah, absolutely love that one as well. That's the kind of Sugar Papa likes. Song has a great rock and groove to it, but there's something. It's a foot tapper. It really is a foot tapper. But there's something about his vocals that just, I don't know, just doesn't sound right. I don't know whether they've manipulated them or there was an issue with the microphone or what, but it just doesn't sound right. I do like it though, apart from the vocals. Easy Thing, semi-acoustic tune. Peter's vocals, emotion drenched on this one, and it's a riveting track. It really is. It is cheesy, but I like it. Rock Me Baby. That track is a piano-drenched rocker in old school R&B style from 1950s. Kind of. It's not too bad, but it lacks something, and I can't put my finger on it. So for that reason, I do not like that song. Kiss the Girl Goodbye. It's an acoustic ballad. Again, his vocals are just, they're nothing vocals. It's just wispy, dreamy. There's just nothing, and I really do not like that song. That's a bad choice to go on the album. It should have stayed non-recorded or even not released. Hooked on Rock and Roll. This is as close to 50s rock and roll that this album gets. Chuck Berry could have sung this song. I could so imagine Chuck Berry singing this song. It's toe tapper, finger clicker. It's just a great. It's just great after two dud tracks to have this back. I absolutely love that song. Finally, the album closes with I Can't Stop the Rain. It's a nice album cover. It's lush on the orchestrations. It's a ballad. And it's what you would expect from Peter Criss at the end of an album. A nice, quiet little ballad. Tearjerker at the end of an album. I like it. So all up, this album comes in at 7.3 out of 10 for me. Now, I think this album would be more revered if that wasn't on it, and if there was no makeup on it. If there was just a picture of his face, Peter Criss, I think people outside of Kiss would have really embraced this album. Kiss fans didn't embrace it. It wasn't a Kiss album. Non-Kiss fans wouldn't buy it because it was a Kiss album. So he was real, and he didn't really have a following, I guess, as such, like the other three. Because Kiss were a very polarising band. You either loved them or hate them with an absolute passion. Because of the makeup, because of the theatrics and the antics, they weren't taken seriously. But if this was just a normal album, a normal R&B album by a guy without that makeup, I reckon this would have been revered. It would have made the R&B charts, soul charts. He would be up there with like Rod Stewart with his raspy voice, in my opinion. But it's just really sad that the Kiss logo, the Kiss makeup actually detracted from people really liking this album. But I can see through it. I'm a big fan of R&B, big fan of soul. Love raspy vocals like Rod Stewart's type vocals, and love Peter Criss in general. So that's why that one's second for me. My favourite album is the one most people would pick. On my first channel, I did rank these solo albums. This was number one by a long way as well. That's Ace Frehley's album. Ace played, there's 9 tracks on here. One is a cover that actually became his signature tune. So Ace played bass, synthesizers, and most guitars on here. There's 9 tracks. Rip It Out opens the album. It's blistering, bombastic, massive rocker. Great riffs, and the drums are heavy. That is heavier in its own right than any recorded song by Kiss. Probably up until Creatures of the Night album, maybe, when they started to get a bit heavier with Eric Carr in there and Bruce Kulick. Um, but yeah, this is heavier. He was the real heavy metal guy of Kiss, in my opinion. I love that song. Speeding Back to My Baby. This really showcases that Ace was the hard rock guy in Kiss. It's riff upon riff upon blistering riff of hard rock excellence. Love that one too. Snowblind. It's even musically heavier than the first two tracks, and yet it's slower. Now, heavier is like the Beatles track. She's So Heavy, I Want You. That is a real dense, heavy track without being heavy like Helter Skelter, for example. And that's what I mean by this track. It's just heavy, it's dense. It just has a slow, chugging rhythm that grinds. It's like having your bones put in a vice and it just crunches and real pressure. It's hard to explain. Go listen to it. Love that track also. Ozone, similar in vein to the previous track I just mentioned. Um, in fact, so similar they could have joined them two together as like a medley. They just fit so perfectly together. Love that track too. What's on Your Mind? This is more pop rock. Well, actually, rock with pop elements. It's really catchy. I could imagine Paul Stanley singing this song. Now, Ace did write a few Kiss songs early on, and the others sung the songs because he didn't consider himself a vocalist. I could imagine Paul Stanley singing this song on a Kiss album. It is slightly weaker than the first four tracks, but I still like it. Next up, we've got New York Groove. It's a cover originally recorded by soft rock band Hello. Ace hasn't strayed too far from the original. His drums are heavier, and the guitar sound is crunchier, more defined, for want of a better track. And yeah, it's basically become his signature tune, which is strange. He could have had Shock Me as his signature tune. Probably Cold Gin, because that was his song as well initially. But yeah, this has become his signature tune. Absolutely love it. Wiped Out. This one has got some dirty, gritty, grungy, distorted guitars on it, and yet it's so melodic. Imagine if the Beach Boys had come out 10 years later and were a heavy metal band or a hard rock band. That's what that song sounds like. Like it. I like it. I don't love it. I like that one. I'm in Need of Love, track number 8. Sounds like you used the blueprint for Shock Me and then took it to another extreme level on this track. Absolutely love that one too. Finally, the closing track, Fractured Mirror. It's an instrumental. I'm not a big fan of instrumentals in rock music. I don't mind some. This one showcases the proficiency and class that made Ace Frehley a great lead guitarist. It's just an absolute masterpiece. Masterpiece. It's layer upon layer upon layer of guitar drenched rock and roll, basically. Now, I think Ace Frehley does not get the credit he deserves. When there's always lists of great guitarists and you can add your own member, I generally put Ace Frehley in there. No one puts him in there. And again, it's because of this. A lot of people just don't like it because it's Kiss, basically, and they won't acknowledge it. He gets overshadowed by, again, the theatrics, the on-stage personas, the makeup. You know, it's, as I said, he's very polarising. Kiss are very polarising, and I don't think he gets the just deserves that he should get. Hopefully, in death, it's not nice to say, he will finally get credit where credit is due as being a great guitarist. Same thing as Prince. People didn't consider Prince as a great guitarist, but over the last few years, people are now putting him up there in high esteem. And it's sad. These guys have to die or pass on to actually get the recognition they deserve. And I think Ace will finally get that. This album comes in at 9 out of 10 for me. So sorry about that, folks. It was longer than I expected it to be. But yeah, I just wanted to go through each track on every album and let you know what I thought about them as to why I rank them where they do. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Stay safe, take care. All for now. Catch you around, and bye, folks.